All right, we're live. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Tack. How are you? It's
I
nice to
am
see
doing
you as always.
lovely seeing you. Here we go. I think it is everything seems to be working. I'm just looking at the YouTube here. Oh yeah, no, it is working. Uh there's a new name to this thing. Unscripted.
Hmm. Well, it's definitely unscripted. I like
It's definitely
unscripted. You never
it's
know
it
what
is
you're going to get. You've just got to
that is
be
correct.
mindful.
But my audience loves you. There's a lot to love. There's a lot to love. Steve,
Look,
there's a lot to love.
I miss our Sevan. That was
Yeah, yeah, it's a special place. Armenia is a special place.
yeah. It was a special place, and it was the weather was fantastic for us.
Oh,
Even
of
though it's
course.
quite warm, at times it was quite warm. But when the wind was blowing at you or blowing through the little woods,
Right.
I had to put a fleece on. I was
Yep.
getting cold.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's well, the altitude, right? So I think the altitude it's probably like that normally, but then the altitude probably makes it feel a little bit hotter, I guess when you're in the sun. But yeah, I think the normal temperature is quite cool. It's nice. It's lovely. It's like a
Yeah,
California, summer, I think they're called, or winters are all year round where it's like always nice, but when you're in the shade, it's you have to put a jumper on.
yeah. And how
Steve,
have you been doing since you've been back?
I
What's been the hot topics?
I just finished a monologue on Eberici Eze, which is a new he's a new Arsenal player, and it's the best thing is we got him from Tottenham Hotspurs. So like Tottenham Hotspur, like is our chief rivals, and so they were about to sign him, 67.5 million pounds, and we got him right underneath their noses. They were about to sign, and we swooped in and we got him. So he's a gunner. He also attended the academy before as well, so his heart is with us, not with the Spurs. But it just feels good that we're just doing one over.
So the question is, why do you think why do you think he chose Arsenal instead of Tottenham?
Isn't the answer obvious? I mean,
Well, you think it's obvious. You look at the stadiums. I think Tottenham's coming into their own. I think they're going to be coming into a really good purple patch for them.
I think so. They've got, was it the new stadium has been built or is being
Yeah,
built or
yeah.
okay.
And they're
It's
multifunctional. They've got a stadium that's there for events, for football,
yes,
for
that's
I
right
think
for
they've had
boxing.
American football, for boxing.
Yep, there was the boxing. Yeah, yeah. I mean, look. So obviously there's a history, right? So North of London is traditionally red, and those are the Spurs are Arsenal's biggest rivals. It's funny, my ex-cousin-in-law, is a big Spurs fan. So whenever something happens, we just kind of banter away. So there's a history. I do certainly think that he chose Arsenal, probably as he chose Arsenal because of, I think, probably more football. We're both in the Champions League, but I just think we're able to hit second, if not higher, in the Premier League. Champions League, I think we have more of a shot of going further. And I think him being an academy boy, right? I think definitely helps. I mean, it's kind of he was heartbroken. I think it was 13. He was heartbroken when Arsenal didn't sign him to go further, and there's probably something to do with that. And our summer signings have been absolutely fantastic. We've had Norgard from Brentford, who was the Brentford captain, Zubimendi, the Spanish midfielder from Real Sociedad, the big strikers signing of the summer, Gyökeres from Sporting Lisbon. We needed this kind of central striker for a while, so we've had some really good signings.
So
Yeah,
you
over the
said you
summer
brought somebody from Brentford.
we did.
Why
Norgard, the
didn't he
Danish
go to
guy.
Tottenham? I would have thought he would have. That would have been his first one, is to go to Tottenham.
Everybody wants to back a winner. Everyone wants to go to a winner. That's basically that's why I feel so good. Everybody wants. everyone wants to follow winner, and and when Arsenal's the winner, it feels good,
I
especially
think that
over
was a good
Tottenham.
result against Man U. Man U was a good result.
Like, so did you watch? Did you watch it?
I watched some of it. I didn't watch
Okay.
all of it because I thought I didn't know. I know that I came to the game when you were one up.
Yes,
But
and that was
Man
like
U,
the 13th
I think
minute.
Man U's going to be a different team this year.
You know what? Like, I think the interesting part about like football teams and just seeing the ups and downs, right? Like, it's really once you have a big central figure leave, like Sir Alex, it's not easy to go back. And how long has Man U been struggling, right, to get back? And they've had manager after manager, and it's just really difficult. I mean, this year will also be a rebuild year, right? And how many rebuild years have they had? It's not easy.
Okay, and here's another one. Would Alex Ferguson? I know that people look up and they say how wonderful Alex Ferguson, which he was, without a shadow of a doubt. But
Yep.
if he came into the game now, after these years he's been away, will he
Right.
be as successful, or would that player power
Right.
not give him that opportunity anymore? Because he
What?
brought his teams from a very young age, right? So he could
Right.
be he had that discipline.
Right. It is a different day and age, right? Like, what was it? So he had David Beckham, the Neville brothers, Roy, um, Giggs, right? And I think maybe one other player, but I think Scholes. So basically, he's got those from the academy, and he had them from kids all the way,
Nicky
to what
Butt,
was it?
another
Oh,
one.
Nicky Butt. There we go. To what, 24, 25, and perhaps the end of their career. So I guess they were used to him. Now it's a different type of kind of game. I guess the only football team that really kind of goes from youth level all the way up is probably the Spanish clubs, right? Where they just have a very, very strong academy. So he probably will struggle, I think, this day and age.
I, th- I think so too. I think that
Yeah,
once you lose, it's a lot easier, or it
yeah.
seems. I'm not an expert, but it seems it's a lot easier to lose a dressing room.
Yeah, there's just more. It's more complicated, right? So it's like the agents come in, involved. I mean, so the player, the agents, there's more of an entourage around the players as well. There's social media. So it's not only about football anymore, right? It's about the business around the football. Oftentimes that I guess that overshadows the football, right? So it probably is a lot harder, I think now. I mean,
Thank
that's not to say that he couldn't succeed, but I just think his tactics and his strategy might have to adapt.
thank God we're only into startups. Thank God.
Do
All
you
we've got
do
to
you,
do, all
yeah.
we've got to do is find that winning formula where they can gain investment and go to that unicorn status. It's
Yeah,
kind of
if it
so
were
much
only that
easier.
easy. Do you think you could like manage a football team? Like, would you ever want to manage a football team? Like
I don't.
a
I,
championship.
don't-
What's below championship? League
I, th-
One?
I th- I think I would have. I don't think I would have got manager. I don't. I'm not. I'm definitely not a manager. I think you've got to be a good teacher to be a
Yes.
manager. I
Yes.
think you've got to have those skill sets. And to be quite honest with you, I was always. I know that when I become a windsurfing instructor, I
Okay.
was the worst instructor ever because all I wanted to do, as soon as that wind picked up,
Right.
I would
Right.
leave. I would leave the people tied to a rock in Cyprus, and
Right.
I would be out surfing with
Right.
that wind on my back.
See you
And
later.
see you later.
Surf's
And
up.
yeah, so and I was always, I suppose, with me, I was always I like, I would like to think I was Roy Keane to a certain
Right.
degree, not to his level, but I think he was very firm.
Okay.
Um, Before games, I can imagine him not being. I suppose he was getting himself in that zone. I would
Right.
not always talk to people before a big game.
Right.
Um, it would always be that getting the mindset ready. And then
Right.
I loved teams. I loved kind of either being at the front to lead or being at the back to bring up the rear, right?
So you're
And
more of you would be more of a player rather than the manager. You'd be a planner, like a player manager, if you will. A
I would
captain.
love
The
to,
captain.
yeah, I would love to have been a Roy Keane character. I
Right.
think I would have been that type of character. I think I would have, I controlled aggression. They used to teach us controlled aggression, rugby especially. so
Right.
that you didn't ever lose it, but you were there.
Right.
It was a massive part of the game.
And
But
just to let
obviously
the
now,
audience know, Roy Keane is an Irishman who commanded the midfield during the Alex Ferguson Manchester United days with David Beckham, Gary Neville, Nicky Butt, Ryan Giggs. And if you see him now, he's still got the metal, right? He's got the grumpiness, he's got the fire, and he was always just sly tackling people and just getting in fights and red cards and everything. But he's a brilliant player. He's a very brilliant player.
yeah, he's I suppose I just watched just before we came on. I watched a section where he got emotional, which you wouldn't have thought
Okay.
Roy Keane could get emotional, but it was
Right.
when he was looking at pictures from the old days, and
All
when his
right.
mum and dad came to watch him at different games, especially Wembley.
Right. Oh.
And he was just saying that, well, he just showed it with emotion, and
Oh.
he got emotional in front of the other people that with him, Neville, Ian Wright. So
Oh, it was that. What was the name of that podcast? Yes, I know, with Jamie Carragher and
Jamie
yeah, you're
Carragher,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
and the
that's right.
lady, I'm sorry,
Yes.
I can't remember her name,
Right.
but yeah, really really nice moment that you realise that he was just a human being, and to be quite honest with you, it was a stage that you had to go out on. That it was you couldn't show any fear, you
Yeah.
couldn't
Yeah.
back down, you had to
Yeah.
go out, and it was like, and I suppose that's like it with every Saturday when they go out over that line, they've got to
Yeah.
change their personality.
It was a different time back then, right? So have you seen his commentary where he calls I think a Newcastle player a baby?
When
Where he
Roy
called a
Keane,
Newcastle. Yeah. He was
I
calling. I'll send it to you. It's hilarious.
I didn't I knew that he was at Nottingham Forest with Brian Clough, and that there
Yes.
was another fantastic manager. But again, I don't think he would have survived in these days. It I don't think that style of management. I don't know. I've never been in a dressing room, so but you see all these managers that
Yeah.
come in, and sometimes they've got a huge reputation, but they can't win the dressing room, or things go against them, or
Well,
player
I
power.
think well, I would say probably like certain leagues are probably better, right? So maybe in the Premier League it's a lot more of a business, right? So there's just a lot more elements. There's the marketing guys, advertising guys, agents, that type of thing. But probably if you go like maybe like the Spanish leagues or the Turkish leagues or the French leagues, it might be slightly different. The Italian leagues, right? If it feels probably Italian and the Spanish leagues are a little bit less kind of commercial, or at least you've got maybe that style would work. Because if I think about like a manager that's kind of in that style, right? Like Mourinho, Capello, probably like old school managers, a little bit more firm, a little bit more structured in how they think. So I think they've done very well in the Italian leagues, in fact, right? So
Was it
Mourinho,
Ranieri? Was it Ranieri that took
Ranieri,
Leicester?
right,
Was it
right.
Ranieri that took Leicester to the
That's right.
champ? They won the Premiership.
That's right. That's right. I think he went back to Italy after that as well.
Great,
That's
absolutely
insane.
great.
Let me take a
And I
look.
suppose the transition. And I'm not trying to move us into another place, but where do you see yourself? You asked me if I'd like to be a manager. Where do you, with what you do now? How do you see yourself as that
I
Premier
would.
League manager?
I'm just looking at Ranieri. After that, he went to Nantes, which is, I believe, the French league, and then went to Roma, went to Fulham, went to Roma, Sampdoria, uh, Watford, Cagliari, and Roma. So I think he stayed in the Italian side. Yeah, but to answer your question, I think I would be. I would love to play on like in the midfield. I don't think I had the skills growing up too. I moved too much to really like settle down and really have a team. I wish I did because I really enjoy football. Um, but I'm trying to think. No, I think I would enjoy being a manager more than actually on the pitch. I quite enjoy the strategy side and the tactic side. Um, I like being a player as well, but I don't know. I think I would enjoy taking a step back, and being more on that level. Yeah, but if I were on the pitch, I definitely would be. I would be in the midfield. It's like so I play rugby, right? Um, and my position is I'm the scrum half on the rugby pitch. So I'm the one grabbing right in the
Short and
scrum, grabbing the
gobby.
ball.
I used to call it
That's right.
short,
That's right. Didn't want to go
short
there.
and gobby.
Annoying
Oh,
everybody. The shortest guy annoying everybody.
I always wanted it. I used to play. What my first position was a winger in
Okay.
the early
Yeah,
days.
fast and strong. Yeah, you can
But
run.
I was one of those kids that just wanted to go where the ball was, and that was always around the ruck. So they put me as a wing forward, and
Okay,
I just
got it.
wanted it. I either wanted to destroy the scrum half or the standoff. That was
So
my
yeah.
job.
So the scrum half is the one that like after the ruck, right? Like the scrum half is usually the shortest player on the pitch because he or she is the one that gets the ball out of the scrum and passes it on to usually the fly half, the number 10, who then distributes the ball to everybody else. So yeah, so I was indeed the shortest one. But I just took to it. I saw a ball and I was like I want to go. But so I like being in the middle of the action, which is why I like being the scrum half. But I like contact, so I was one of those scrum halves that didn't mind just going for it as well. Whenever I saw the opportunity, so I think that's kind of the position I play.
Yeah, we
Being in the
needed to
middle of it.
destroy you. And they were gobby. They were confident. They were having to take. They were a big role. Okay, you said when it gets to the standoff and he's going to do his stuff,
Yeah,
but it was down to yourself that when it was because you were also a playmaker. You were also whether you went with it, you had the confidence to go with it, and you needed the confidence because you were the smallest man on the pitch normally, except the hooker sometimes. But he was normally he had height going this way, right? So he
right,
was
right.
always quite bigger than everybody else. But that changed over the years. But yeah, but yours was a unique position. It was one of those that you had to be good at what you do. You had to be confident.
Yeah, I mean everybody. I think if you're playing a good team, right, everybody has to be good at what they're doing. But you're probably right because even now, right, when I play with the old boys, I'm still the smallest player. Like the and I guess back then when I was younger, I didn't really think as much about it. But yeah, you're on the pitch for some massive guys, right?
Yeah.
And it's pretty nerve wracking. I mean, again, I don't think about it as much, but when I was on the last time we played with the old boys, I was just like, wow, this is not so easy, right? But I kind of think you kind of have to do that if you're scrum half. You just kind of have to ignore the fact that everybody's bigger and stronger, and you just have to play your game. Yeah, I like being in the middle of it, in the
And
thick of it.
in the does that relate to the job that you do now? Do you kind of do you see yourself as the player in the business, the kind of the scrum half, the one that needs to be fiery, the one that needs to kind of weigh up all the angles and what's the play going to be and
Yeah, 100%. I think on a football pitch, that's kind of why I said I enjoy kind of that manager role, if you will. I think scrum half. Again, I played more rugby than I did football. Scrum half does allow me to be a little bit more flexible. So sometimes I do need to be hard charging. Sometimes I just need to pass the ball and get it out. And I have to adapt to the situation. But even it's just flexible in that way. It's like sometimes I have to adapt to the situation. Sometimes I have to impose myself to the situation. For example, like sometimes I have to make stuff happen, right? So I have to take the ball and I have to go and I have to run. Sometimes I know I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to get a try, but I have to invite contact. I have to invite the opposition to look to me as a threat in order to free up my teammates, right? So you have to read the situation, then you have to kind of dictate whatever the situation entails. And I think that's 100%. That's how I think about how I am in business. I'm flexible, right? So I'm super flexible. I can go hard, I can go soft, I can go creative, I can go disciplined, and it's really whatever justifies the mission, right? If you will, that comes first, right? So if the mission is startups need to be successful, okay, let's get it done, right? So do I have to be this position? Do I have to be that position? Do I have to be this style? Do I have to be that style? And yeah, whatever works, whatever gets the job done.
But
That's
thinking about it,
100%.
and thinking about you as an individual, I think you've got to run. You've got to be able to run just as much as anybody on that pitch, and you've got to be at every breakdown. And I
Yeah,
think that could be. I could see you being the scrum half, not because of your size or just from a work perspective. That you're going to be there
yeah,
whenever it's broken down. You're going to be there. You're going to
yeah,
survey. You're going to look at the options. You're going to be able to take some of the heat, whether you're going to keep it in the scrum, whether you can see your lines not in the back already. You can
right.
just get that number 8, bringing it along with him, or keeping it in the pack, that little extra until you're ready to move.
Yeah.
And that's I suppose that you're perfect for a scrum half, but that I can see how that's going to be beneficial in your work.
Yeah, I think that the mentality, like, I would admit, like, I hadn't played rugby for a long time. So I played in business school. I was in the UK at the time, played. I loved it. Yeah, I loved the contact and everything. And it was just a very different sport than I've ever, like, any other sport that I've ever played. And so my kids started playing about 2, 3 years ago. I don't know if you know, like, so both my kids play. And it's called the Flying Kookaries. It's a fantastic history. It is a combination of the old British Army team and the old Royal Air Force team. So they came together. So it was the Gurkha Regiment and the Royal Air Force, and came together to fly to form a team called the Flying Kookaries. This year is actually our 50th year
Wow.
anniversary. So after I just, because of my army background, after I heard the history of the Flying Kookaries, I say I got to sign up. This is kind of near and dear to my heart, this type of history. And then at first I signed up my son, as one does, right? You would think that boys are more kind of attuned to rugby. But then I realized the girls are just as good, if not better, in very different aspects. They understand the positions, they understand spacing, they work together more. In many ways, actually, girls rugby is a lot more fun to watch because they trust each other. So my daughter Vera Nora, she was just watching from the sidelines, for about 2 seasons, and then one day, and she was volunteering for the club and helping out bake sales and whatever. And then one season, she said, "Look, I'll give it a go. I want to see what it's all about." At first, she was saying, I don't know about the contact and everything. Obviously, it kind of moved from touch to tackle. But after a while, so she joined in, and after a while, she met her teammates. They had fun. They understood each other. She really enjoyed it, and she's actually really quite physical. Uh, she talks smack in the ruck. So whenever she's forming a ruck with the opposing player, she will talk some trash. I was like, Vera, like what? Like save your energy, to on and off the pitch, right? But not like don't talk smack. But she loves it, and so that's kind of when I really took to it and started playing with the old boys again, with the Flying Kookaries, and yeah, I've been loving it. So I love everything about rugby, both for my kids. I think it's absolutely wonderful for kids. I love the team that I'm in, and our friendships and our relationships. And I think rugby is just a fantastic platform for skills. So in fact, the school Malvern just emailed us about starting up the rugby program, and I emailed him back and said, look, I'm very happy to help kickstart the Malvern rugby program because I really think that Malvern or rugby overall is a fantastic tool for kids. And let me tell you, not to kind of drone on and on about rugby, but let me tell you why I think it is. It's about teamwork. It's there's a lot of parallels and similarities with obviously the military, but all in positive ways. It's about teamwork. It's about trusting your team, knowing your place within the team, and really putting your trust in the team. It's about working hard. Obviously, you have to work very hard on the rugby pitch. There will be contact. It won't feel nice, but it's overcoming that. It's about learning to lose together, and I say that first rather than learning to win together, because I think it's really important to lose and to learn to lose gracefully and to process that, and to lose as a team, because you're going to lose more in life than you are going to win. And I think that's really important for kids to understand, like, it's not the end of the world. You can come back and you can recover. And this teamwork aspect, going back to that, is really, really important for young kids, because I remember Ethan Noah, right? When in the beginning, every kid wants the ball. And first couple of times he didn't get the ball. And so he was like, he was depressed, he was disappointed. Why wasn't me? Why don't I get it? And it was a learning opportunity, right? So at first, a couple of times I was like, kind of, get out of your bass, right? I didn't say that, but get out of your butt, focus on the play, focus on what's next. And I understand, as a young kid, right? He would say, why am I not getting it? I want the action. But then he soon realized, right? Like, sometimes you're part of the action, sometimes you're not, but there are other ways you can contribute, right? You can win. He was blocking other players off. He was encouraging his teammates to go for it. So it's learning to win despite your own personal feelings or disappointments or loss or whatever it may be, for the sake of the team. And I'm almost, I've got a tear in my eye. It's a wonderful, wonderful tool. And we've been incredibly blessed to have the club, and even my missus has come around to it. She said today, I'm so glad the kids are rugby. And I was like, yep, it's working. It's working. So
Yeah, rugby was
wonderful.
a good one. Every Sunday morning, without fail, whatever the weather conditions, whether it was kind of frozen and you had to go there and see whether the game was on or off. Majority of the time, the ground was, no matter if it was frozen, you were playing on it.
It was frozen. You're right. I
It
can remember
was,
English. Yeah, English fields are usually frozen.
and to be quite honest with you, I think we were going to play on whatever pitch it was anyway. Because once you've gone to that stage and you've got yourself built up to it, you wanted to play that game.
Right, right.
You
It
wanted
was.
to play that game.
So you played, like, right from the beginning. So were you a rugby person, or were you a
Yeah,
football person?
I did a talk for some nurse.
Oh yes,
I've
you
done
did.
some
Yes,
nurse assistants,
yes.
and I did a talk, and it's the highlight of my life, because when we get to the age of 11, we go to the secondary school,
Okay.
and this was back in my day, and I didn't want to go to. We were a single parent family, and you never got the clothes that everybody else had, or the trainers. The trainers were oh my God, the trainers were the worst ones, because you would never get the trainers that were out there. We
Hmm.
used to have a store called Primark, and in the day you would
Still
always
around.
go,
Still around.
yeah, but it's
Quite like
much better
Parma.
than what it was. And our mum used to take us to there, and you could tell the trainers that she was going to get you, because the plastic or the rubber that was
Right.
on there could never bend. It was probably the biggest, strongest rubber, and it would
Sturdy.
never be. It
Sturdy.
would. Oh my God! And I suppose when I was only, I don't know, I was coming up to my 11th birthday. We were going to the big school. We were going to go and play rugby, and that was my dream. And so I used to do a paper round. So I used to roller skate with my sack and go around and put the papers through the door. I was quite good at that. I used to do in the school holidays, which was for 6 weeks. I used to go and work with the milkman. His name was Don, and it was called Unigate Milk. And we used to have these electric vehicles, like a cart,
Right.
and I would go round with him from 4:30 in the morning till about 12, and I would get the net. So what have I got this? So it was a good one, because he would say, okay, go top, sterilized, and you would have all these types of different milks that you had to leave by the doorsteps, and it was a good one to keep your mind to remember which ones that he said.
Right.
But you used to get 50p. And every single day afterwards, I would take that 50p, which was a nice little bit of money then, and I would take it to the post office and put it in my savings account. And then
Good
at the
on
end of
you.
the holidays, and I'd done that 7 days a week. And at the
Oh,
end of
wow.
the holidays, I remember getting a pair of rugby shorts with the pockets in.
Right.
Oh my word! But my biggest ones was I got a pair of rugby boots,
Right.
Patrick's. Never forget. Patrick's rugby boots. Patrick's
Okay.
was my idol in football was Kevin Keegan.
Ah,
Um,
Kevin. Right.
he would be sponsored by Patrick's. I don't know what they're doing now,
I don't even know.
but
Yeah.
they were my rugby boots. They were my rugby shirt. So I was one of everybody else. I didn't have the cheapest. Where people, yeah, kids that age, they would laugh at the things that you were turning up in. Um, yeah. So
I'm looking
I
at
kind of
Pat.
those were the days back then.
No, there are Patrick.eu. That's right. Kevin Keegan began the Patrick craze in the 1980s as he wore the Patrick football boots. I did not know this was a thing.
That was the thing. I was, yeah. So this was, I think it even went back before the 80s, to be quite honest. If, because
PRX.
I think I think looking back, I think I started in 78,
Okay.
78 and 83. Yeah, 83 I left. So in 83 I joined the forces. But
It started out in the 1800s, and then it's been so
1800?
yeah, it's been around for a
Oh
while.
wow.
But then they had okay, so no, Patrick was one of the first brands in the 1930s to introduce the two stripes to the shoe, which I guess now like Adidas does and everybody does. But 1930s and then 1950s they had the revolutionary plastifix sole. Don't know if you know that. But
No.
1980s is when right the Patrick craze happened with Kevin Keegan.
Kevin Keegan was my hero. Number 7, played for Liverpool. Oh
So
dear.
I've obviously I've seen his interviews and stuff, but I've never actually seen any highlights of his. I should probably go back. What was
Oh,
so good about Kevin Keegan?
he was in the same league. He was one of the first one. I think he got the European Player of the Year for Hamburg twice. So I
Okay.
think he was the first British guy to get the Europe. It's Ballon d'Or now, but
Oh, okay, got it. Okay.
he was a great player, and he played for Liverpool. And the person that came and took over him at Liverpool was Kenny Dalglish. He
Okay,
took the number
got it.
7.
But what was so good about
Oh,
Keegan?
he was, and he played
Like,
for England, obviously. He was just a dribbler. He was really good on the ball.
got it.
I don't know who I can say that he was. He's yeah, I'm not sure, but he used to play with Steve Highway and uh, McDermott. Uh, who else did he play for in the England team?
Take a look.
His kind of his buddy was Trevor Brooking. So
Kevin
he would,
Keegan.
yeah. Kevin Keegan was brilliant.
So
He was
Kevin
brilliant.
Keegan,
A
he
dribbler. He
played.
was, yeah. He was our closest to George Best at the
Okay.
time.
Liverpool, Hamburger, Southampton, Newcastle, Blacktown City.
Yeah, I don't know anymore. I know Newcastle.
Okay.
I knew Hamburg and I knew Liverpool and Southampton. Yeah, he had a little short spell.
And then he managed Newcastle, Fulham, England, Man
Oh,
City,
he
and
should
then
have won the
Newcastle.
league. He was so close and winning the league
So he
for
never did with
Newcastle.
Newcastle or Fulham or Man
No,
City.
Newcastle he was so close, but Brian Ferguson, is it Brian Ferguson? What's his name?
Oh,
Alex Ferguson. Alex Ferguson got
oh
into his
right.
head and
Oh
he had
really?
a Kevin Keegan had a meltdown.
Get a
They were so many
meltdown.
points in front.
Oh
And
oh really?
oh
What?
God,
Wait,
he was so many points in front. They
let's
were
take a look.
Newcastle was. Um, and when you think that they never won anything, they've not really won anything except last year. I think they won something.
Okay. Right.
The Caribou Cup, I think they won. But that was
Which
the first
is
thing.
back then is called the
League Cup.
League Cup. Back then
Yeah.
was called the League Cup. Now it's called the Caribou Cup. Yeah.
Oh God, it was, and they won it last year.
So what is the
And
League Cup again, though? The League
it's
Cup is
everybody is. It's like a knockout competition, a bit
yeah,
like
that's right, with everybody. That's right.
you've got to play it. Sometime I think you've got to play when it gets to the later stages. You've got to play over 2 legs,
Got it.
and it's
Like
around.
old Champions League.
Yeah, so but it was normally one of those that the League Cup was I would say was at the bottom end of the higher tier cups. FA Cup was
But I thought
all
the FA Cup. Yeah, that's right.
that's the biggest. That was where we all sat around. It was a huge thing. It started off from the very early morning, and you would get the whole day of the build up to the atmosphere.
But
Oh,
what's the difference between the FA Cup and the Caribou Cup?
Caribou Cup was just, or it was just. It's still thought that it's not. It doesn't get the recognition that it deserves. Yes, just the I won't say. I don't know. It's not one that everybody shouts about. Put it that way.
Yeah. Africa versus the Caribou Cup. I'm just trying to, and then the Community Shield is the one that.
The FA winners of the league and the FA Cup will play against each other.
Oh, is that right? Oh, is that what happens? Okay.
That's the Charity Shield. If I'm
The
almost
Community
convinced.
Shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, Community Shield. Okay.
So it's at the start of the season, and
Oh, so Caribou Cup is Championship, League One, and League Two,
yes,
and
but
then
so
FA Cup.
yeah, it's all
FA
of
Cup
them.
is everybody.
Everybody, the giant. You can be a giant killer. So you
Right.
can have a non-league knocking out a Premiership.
In the FA Cup.
Yeah,
That's pretty. Yeah, that's pretty. That's pretty. What's been the most surprising FA Cup winners? Most surprising in your memory. What's the most surprising FA Cup?
I don't. I was never
Okay,
lucky enough
right.
that one of my, well, I say one of my teams. I was. I've only got one team, by the way. That's one
Okay.
team.
Yeah, I know
City.
Bristol City.
Okay. So I've never been fortunate enough to get into that. We've got into the semi-finals of the League Cup on several occasions.
Okay.
So we've got quite close, but never the cigar. And FA Cup, no, we've never got into the FA Cup. We got into the league. We got into League One, which turned into the Premiership at one stage.
Okay.
And that was, we would play Liverpool. We would play, oh dear, it was fantastic.
So, according to this website, the 5 most surprising FA Cup winners are Wigan Athletic in 2013, Wimbledon
Wimbledon?
in 1988. Yep. So they beat Liverpool
Crazy
in
Gang.
1988.
They were called the Crazy Gang with
Okay, you remember that.
Vinnie Jones
Vinnie Jones
and Sanchez.
was Vinnie Jones on the tail end of his career back then?
I don't think so. I think they were.
Okay.
I think they were. You never knew what you were going to get, but you knew you were going to have a
Vinnie
tough
Jones.
time. That's for sure.
I love Vinnie Jones as a character in movies. Vinnie Jones is awesome.
He's done some wonderful things now, and he's doing things, conservation things, where he's buying,
Really?
where he's got land and lakes, and he
Vinnie
loves
Jones?
nature. Yeah,
He's such
he's
a
got
nice
his own
guy.
TV program where he hates walkers that walk over his land.
You
Because
don't want to cross Vinnie Jones, I think, if you're
He-
walking over his land.
I've watched some of his programs, and it's like, but he's still, one of the things that I like about him is he still remembers everybody that's played a part in his life.
Yes,
So
I
I
have seen
remember
that
what-
before.
Yeah, so
So
he's just
just for the audience, just to let you know, Vinnie Jones. So Vinnie Jones is an ex-football player for here we go, Wimbledon, Leeds United, Sheffield United, Chelsea, and Queens Park Rangers. Never really top clubs, right, if you will, right? But he was always like the enforcer. He was always the tough guy. And then
I don't think I think the enforcer was not a word that he was the aggressor.
He was the aggressor. Got it. Okay.
He
And
was
then
going to kind of take you out, and you were going to be a little bit concerned.
and in his movies and all the movies that he appeared in, Lock, Stock, Smoking Barrels, Snatch, he was always that guy as well. He had this tough, oi, oi,
Yeah, tough guy, really
tough
tough guy.
guy, tough guy. But
Yeah.
I've heard he's soft as a, as a pickle. I heard he's great. He's just a really gentle guy. He's very passionate about what he does. But and like you said, or he remembers where he comes from and the people that have been nice to him and gave him a bed to sleep on whilst when he had nothing.
Guy, he was, so he played into a lot of films with Guy Ritchie was the director. Guy
That's
Ritchie,
right. That's right.
a great director, but he was also another one of his uh, call. I won't say call to fame. That's a bit wrong for that, but he was married to Madonna.
Oh, what? Huh? Oh,
Guy
Guy
Ritchie.
was. Yes, yeah, Guy was. Yeah. I've seen
So
I've seen Guy. Yeah, he doesn't seem like a Madonna type of person. He's
he
kind of
was a
very
smooth
soft
looking
spoken.
dude. That's for sure. It was
But
like he was one smooth dude.
but he's very soft spoken. He's very
Yeah, of
right,
course.
right.
I
Yeah.
I,
Okay.
I remember we did the. My friend used to have this place in London in Bayswater, which was
Ooh.
well, it was at Bayswater, Queensway. It was called Queensway, and it used to
Okay.
have ice skating and bowling underground. So
I
you
remember
could.
that. I remember that.
So that used to be my client for maybe 15 years. I was working with that one, Dave Devaney.
Okay.
And we did so my call to fame is that so if you look at Madonna's son, Rocco,
Okay.
whatever age he is now, we did his 8th birthday party at
Okay.
Queen's.
Oh wow. This is when
And
he
we
was married to Guy Ritchie.
when he
When
was
she was
yeah,
married.
so
When
they were
she's wife
both
she was
there.
married. Got it.
We stopped the whole traffic. The police were not happy. Madonna came. Guy Ritchie was there. Um, we one of the things that we had to do these posters and we had Rocco, that was a picture of Rocco on them, but we had to have somebody that was from Madonna's team, where they would come into the place and say, okay, show me that you're going to delete that picture of
Oh really?
Rocco.
Oh wow.
So quite strict back then, but it was yeah,
Madonna.
it brought back many memories.
Madonna's kids. Let's see how many
Uma
kids she
Thurman, I've
has.
met. She was Kill Bill. She used to go to Queensway, Queen's Ice
Okay.
and Bowl. Who else
I
did? Oh, the DJ Titanium. Who did Titanium?
Titanium. Is that a movie or a song?
Wow, it was oh, there was I can't remember, but there was a DJ, David.
Guetta? Is it that guy?
Yes,
Okay, got it.
and he used to come to Queens also. He used to come. So
I
yeah,
I
we had
remember I'm on the website for Queens. I remember there was like a bowling ice rink thing in Queensway.
yeah,
I don't think I've ever been.
yeah. We used to look after everything. And one day what I did was I used to do the social media there with my mate, and so we used to do different things throughout the year. So one of them was Easter, and we used to
Hmm.
have this one bunny, a bunny rabbit, and we used to. If you saw where the bunny rabbit was,
Okay.
you would get a free ice skating session. So
Ah,
we
right.
would we would hide him in so many different places. Oh, it was absolute brilliant fun because they had the grabbing machines with the
Oh,
furry
right, right,
animals.
right.
So you would just put his little ears poking out of the top so that you could try to make out it was him, or the ice that would take the layer of ice off
Yeah.
on the ice machine that went round it, and we would stick him on top of the ice
That's
machine.
Zambonis. Or is it Zambonis? That's what
Um,
they're called, right? Yeah.
I don't know, but we would do so many things. We would sellotape him to one of the so when you had the bowling, and that come up and then swept the pins away,
Right.
you would hide him at the back somewhere and
Oh,
tape
that's
him
cool.
around.
Okay.
So
All right.
somebody would have to notice that he was. So we would do all of those things. We would.
So this is what 80s, 90s,
This was in the 90s. It wasn't so far
90s?
back. I would say I was there. So I've been here 17 years in Qatar.
Right.
They were a client of mine. I lost them in the end because I was here, and so
Mm,
you had to go there on a regular basis. I
sure.
used to have my friend that used to say to all his team, Steve Mackey is coming today. Keep your hands in your pockets. You will, a lot of you will buy off him today. But I'm telling you now, keep your hands in your pockets.
Steve
So
Money's collecting. Steve
I
Mackey is collecting.
I would always come up with different ideas and different concepts. And normally he was the one that bought off me because I would come and give him some kind of I would give him some types of ideas, and he was all for these ideas. He used to have an ice cream parlor in this
Okay.
place. Oh God! And he decided one day that he wanted to make his own ice cream. He
There
called
we
it
go.
gelato,
Right.
and I've still got pictures of it now. We were just we had a fantastic time. I knew there a guy called Dickie Arbiter. He was the Queen's Royal Press Secretary
Oh, wow.
for 12, 16 years. He was there because he used to like doing the dancing on ice. So he used to organise all those. We used to have. I met a friend through Dickie who used to be the personal secretary to Lady Di, Patrick
Oh, wow.
Jeffson.
Okay.
So we'd had those type of things. Yeah, we had it was a ball. It was an
It,
absolute ball.
I was thinking, I was actually listening to some Oasis actually this morning, as one does every so once in a while. The 90s in the UK, they were pretty good, weren't they?
I think the 90s were. I think the 80s were even better.
Oh, really? I'm
I
too
think
young to.
I think the 80s were even better. You say that, but Boy George Culture Club, come on,
Got it.
come on, come on, come on, come on,
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
chameleon. It's still there.
That's pretty good, Steve. That's
It's
pretty good.
it's still there. It's still
Well,
there.
okay. So for British music, right? Like, so what was it? So you've got the 90s is Oasis, George
Blur,
Michael,
Blur, George Michael.
Blur. That was the 80s? Let's take a look.
That was the 90s.
The
Blur
90s
was
were.
always in competition with the Oasis. Oasis.
Ah, that's right. That's right. That's right. So who were the
The
80s? What bands were in the 80s?
So
80s
you
UK.
had let me see. So you had Spandau Ballet,
Phil Collins,
Phil
Duran
Collins,
Duran,
Duran
Aha,
Duran. Yeah, Tim Howard. Some Howard. Howard Jones.
UB40, Rick Astley,
Eurythmics.
Dexy's Midnight Runners,
Uh,
The Human
Dexy
League.
Midnight Runners. Yeah, come on, Eileen.
Wham!
Come on, Eileen.
Come
Oh,
on,
that's
Eileen.
where it would be. Gonna moment. Na, na,
Frank,
na,
yeah,
na,
Frankie
na.
goes to Hollywood.
Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Oh wow. Relax. That
Relax.
was that was banned in the beginning.
Really?
I think
Before?
everybody wanted to buy it. But that was yeah.
But
Dexy's,
was that okay? Was that around like was HMV around those times? And Richard Branson?
uh, look, we're kind of Richard Branson came. He set up HMV
Let's take a
right when
look.
he come out of or when he was still in university. And I've
Let's
read
take a look.
one of his first books
Yeah.
where he was involved because you weren't allowed to have an abortion back then, and they were kind of they were always trying to tell the government, and they'd go out and I can't remember the word that I'm looking for right now, but they would go out and demonstrate
Okay, got it.
about this, but it was
So
illegal.
he founded Virgin Records in 1972, and then he signed and then he home to artists like Sex Pistols, Rolling Stones, and the Spice Girls. So I guess he was in the 70s and 80s actually.
Yeah, and I thought it was HMV, but it was Virgin. How bad was that? But
Yeah.
Virgin was, look at what he's done. Dear me, airlines.
Airlines, cola, lingerie, even weddings. I remember Virgin weddings.
He
I mean,
was
so if you think about like Virgin Airlines, if you think about the UK, right? Like that's what I was trying to. I guess the 70s were pretty good. 70s, 80s. 90s were the tail end, right? With
Oh,
Oasis
dear
and
me,
Blur.
the 70s. It's like I was brought up on Motown. Motown was the 70s.
But
It's
then
like
was Motown big in the UK? Did
Marvin
it
Gaye,
cross?
the Platters, Stylistics. Um, just there's so many. Diana Ross, Supremes.
Hmm.
Oh God, that was music back then. If you
Let me
go
take a
back and
look.
listen to that, that is the 70s was pretty special. And I'm not even saying the Rolling Stones or
Yep.
those big ones.
So Pink Floyd,
Pink
Pretenders.
Floyd, Only Brick in the Wall. We don't need no
Yeah.
education.
Education. Sex Pistols, Rod Stewart, ELO.
Boomtown Rats, that was in the 80s, but I don't like
Um,
Mondays. Remember that? I don't like Mondays. Tell me why. I don't like Mondays.
that I don't know.
That was really bad because they said it was kind of getting people suicide because on it was people it was getting people depressed to go into Mondays.
David
So
Bowie. David Bowie talking about
David Bowie,
Queen,
um,
1975,
oh
Bohemian
dear
Rhapsody.
me,
Like what? Cliff
Queen.
Richard, Bay City Rollers. Bye bye, baby, baby,
Don't get me
bye bye.
started. And we used to get so what we used to get was
Baby,
and they
Bay
were
City
big. Let me
Rollers.
tell you, in the UK they were big. So you had the
What? Bay City
basic roller
Rollers.
trousers. Yeah. So you had a band across your which was tartan. You had a tartan going down the bottom, and tartan going you had tartan going around the hem of your trousers. Let me do something very very embarrassing. I'm 58, soon to be 59. And we used to do so it was BAYBAYBAYCITY with an ROLLERS. Basically, rollers are the best.
That was the Bay City Bay
We
City
love
Army
we
song.
love them. Bye bye baby, baby goodbye. Bye baby,
Na, na, na,
baby,
na.
bye bye
Bye bye,
baby.
bye bye, baby. I
Bye
haven't heard
bye.
that song. But
I
what was
I
it about the UK in the 70s, 80s, 90s that was just a what was like how why did it all come from there? Like all the
I
great
think that
music.
we used to have, I suppose in all of my time, we used to have the top 10, top 20. We used to have the top 100. It was the hit parade, right? So before it was always records, LP,
Hmm.
45s and 33s, I think it was.
Hmm.
So you had an LP,
Hmm.
which was their LP with everything up, their album.
Hmm.
And then you had a small 45, which was just the individual record.
I
And
vaguely remember
if
hearing
you
about
kind of
that.
it was if you got to number one, it was all to do with the record sales.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So if your record sales, if you got to number one, so and what you would do on a Sunday evening is it would start, I don't know, it would start about 6 o'clock. The top 10 was from six,
Countdown.
the
Okay,
countdown.
yes,
And
yes,
you
I
would
remember
go
that
through
show.
every single record until you got to number one.
I
And it
see.
was and so that was a big influencer, but we were party goers too. There was discos and different things, and Adamant was one of my kind of where you would stand and deliver oi, oi, money all your life, and he would put paint on his face,
Right.
so he
Okay.
was dressed up in and all this kind of oh you wet 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 Marty Pello.
But
Another great.
but it was just all that culture, all that vibrancy, and I guess everybody had their opinion on who they like better, and then yeah, it's just it felt I don't know maybe because I was on the tail end of it, right? So 80s, 90s, and even in Hong Kong we saw some of that like so Spice Girls I saw in Hong Kong earlier than the Americans did,
You
and
know,
so
I virtually missed all of the Spice Girls because I was in
oh
the forces.
oh
So
you
it
didn't
was
miss much though, don't worry.
I didn't kind of yeah, I didn't get the Spice Girl. I did get them, but I didn't have much to do with it because that was the time I was in the forces. So I didn't really spend much attention. And there was a few bands that I would always that I was always keen to. Uptown Girl, Billy
Billy
Joel.
Joel. Yep.
I like the jazz singer Neil Diamond, only
Okay.
because I
Okay.
I saw the film. and Love on the Rocks. Coming to America. So I remember all those. Purple Rain, Prince.
Oh, oh, Purple Rain, Prince.
That
Those are
was
classics. Those
classics.
are those are. I mean, I'm trying to think like. So my father used to run a laserdisc shop. Um, because I was thinking there are certain films that actually you can't get anywhere. Like they're not on Netflix, right? So if they're not on Netflix and Apple TV, where do you have them, right? Like, so
Yeah.
I guess there's some still DVDs. Do you still have DVDs?
No, I just go to one of the platforms on the internet. I've got one or two, and you normally find them within there.
Even the old stuff.
Yeah, even the
Oh
old
wow.
stuff.
Oh,
A
you got to send that
Wonderful
to me.
Life. Have you saw The Wonderful Life?
The old one, the classic,
The old
the
one,
winter
the
one.
classic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have. I have. It's what do I like? Um, I was gonna watch. Oh, what was the name of it? There was the City Slickers. Do you remember that film?
Never ever seen it.
Okay, it's an American film. Billy Crystal, couple of comedians, but Billy Crystal was a famous one. Jack James
There was
Parlance.
a rugged looking one, right? And he was
That's
always
right.
scary in the
That's right.
westerns.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. And so there are three city boys that go to the country, trying to be, men, and yeah, and then they did a cowboy type of thing. But that's a wonderful movie. But it's stuff like that, like I can't find. So maybe through your link we can through the naughty streaming link. I think.
That's the, we. I've got to say, I look at my upbringing, the 80s, well, the
Hmm.
70s to a certain degree. I love the 70s. Um, I was 10. I remember 1977. But there again, my mum was a single parent and she loved Motown. So music was a big part of her life, was a big part of her life. And as kids, it was funny because your records you could put several records on. And when
Right.
that record finished, one would drop down and you'd
I
play
see.
another one.
Okay.
And that
But
was
back then
just
you had the radio. There was also the radio, right? So you also had music coming from the radio as well.
Yeah, you used to have the radio. It was uh, Steve Wright, I remember, where he used to do this thing in the mornings where he would get somebody writing with a sad story and he would have this music playing and go through.
Right.
But yeah, radio I didn't listen to that much.
Okay. Okay.
Top of the
But
Pops we used to
a
always
top of the
have
pops. But then the
on a
radio was
Thursday.
always like, I guess it was more news, right? It was probably like BBC News, rather than
Yeah,
what we have now, which is like a variety show.
yeah, they just played music. They just
Or
continually
did they?
played music.
Got it.
Um,
Okay.
It was, yeah. Sundays was a big day. Desert Island Discs. You would because there was nothing on a Sunday really.
Desert
Um,
Island Discs.
yeah.
Oh,
So
Desert Island
that would be
Discs.
that would be something that you listen to. But as young kids, we didn't listen to that. It was always on because you were getting ready for Sunday lunch. And Sunday lunch was a family thing, and that would always be playing in the background. I was
I
out playing.
see.
It was only if the weather was too bad that I would
Right.
find myself in on a Sunday because I didn't want to be in. If we were going to be in on a Sunday, then I had two sisters, and one of us would be doing, and we had three floors. So we had the top floor, middle floor, bottom floor.
Hmm.
And we would have to vacuum we would all have our jobs. So one of us would have to vacuum, one of
Hmm.
us would have to do the washing up that whole
Hmm.
day and make sure that they were doing the cleaning, and the other one would be doing the polishing.
Hmm.
And they would have to polish from top to bottom, and all the skirting boards they would have to dust. So don't be in on a Saturday or Sunday. Do not
Because
be in on a Saturday or Sunday because you were going to get lamped with one of those jobs. So I would always
you
find
would make
something.
yourself scarce.
Oh God, I
Where's
would make
Steve?
myself.
Yeah, no, don't know. Don't know.
We would do as kids. We were kind of. I used to. So my early days was ice skating. So I
Okay.
would go ice skating. No more than 8, 9, 10. We would go ice skating on a Thursday and sometimes on a Sunday, where we would continually skate round the rink. and then they would do figure of eights, and they would do a speed skating session. And even at my age, I used to go on and try that. Um, and then I used to have I got myself up to ice hockey boots,
Okay. Right.
microns, and I used to have these microns that were just fabulous. And then I turned them into roller skates. So I put trucks on the bottom and
Did you really?
grip tonic wheels, sealed ball
For
bearings.
the summers.
Oh, and I was so good. I would roller skate, and literally, yeah, people might think this is really bad, but I used to stay out until me, Dennis, and Anthony would go roller skating or skateboarding, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning in Bristol, and
Oh
we would
wow.
go down some of the biggest Park Street, Union Street. We would skateboard or roller skate down them.
As
We
boys
were,
do. As
oh my
I
God, we would.
get in all sorts of trouble. So it sounds like growing up in Bristol, like it was safe. What was it? That's like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I would imagine. Yeah, rather
Yeah,
safe.
it was safe back then. It wasn't I wouldn't say we didn't notice it back then. There wasn't so much emphasis on it back then. There
Mm,
was crime then. There was crime, but I used to live in a place called Easton, which was right
okay.
close to St. Paul's, um, and that was yeah, it was at the it wasn't an easy. It can be tough
Mm,
sometimes.
mm,
But yeah, my stepfather. I then had a stepfather in my later years,
mm.
and he was from the West Indies, and
All
yeah,
right.
it was good. But then I joined the army. I just
Mm,
wanted to again, just
mm.
by chance. I kind of I used to be an altar boy, so I used to
Mhm.
go to church every Sunday, maybe sometimes morning mass on a Monday. But I used to go and serve with the priests, and
Mm.
then I went to this place called Kimpbury, and I said, "Oh, go on, God, tell me what to do." And he said, "Okay, go and join the army."
Oh yeah,
And
you heard a voice. You actually heard a
I
voice.
I heard of it. Wasn't the normal voice or the it was, and I joined the army. The next day, the very next day,
Oh,
I
is that
went
right?
down and I signed up.
Oh wow, you went
Yeah,
to the
yeah,
recruiter.
crazy. But that's what life is, right?
Did you like growing up? Did you have an inkling like you were gonna go this direction or that? What else were you considering?
No, and unfortunately, I was always a winger.
Hmm.
Um, I had and people are going to think I'm a little bit strange, but I did have a stage where I was seeing this lady called, she was a psychic consultant.
Okay.
People would call her a fortune teller.
Yes.
Um,
Okay.
and I would say she was about 80, 90% right with everything she's ever said to me.
Okay.
But she used to say to me, she said, "You're like a frog on a lily pad." She said, "If only you stop on your lily pad,
Okay.
just stay on the lily pad because it's going to get to your success. Just stay on the lily pad." And she said, "But you don't. You kind of see a lily pad that's moving up beside you, and you've got to jump."
Ah.
And that's what I
Ah.
always had to do. So I joined up when I was 16.
Okay.
You had 2 years, and the level you could get was boy RSM, and that I was driven. I just wanted it for my grandmother,
Boy,
and I would
sorry.
be
Boy RSM, Regimental
regimental sergeant major.
Sergeant Major. Got it.
I wish I could show you the picture now, but it was yeah. So we had that. She came to my pass out parade. But what that does is it just you think that everybody else, everything else is going to be happening in that 2 year period. So
Yep.
you think that the you were always expecting something to move, or you jumped onto another thing, or you had an opportunity. Somebody saw the opportunity, the work ethic you had, the desire, the just something different. I never wanted to be in Bristol in my life. I didn't want to always just have the normal day to day. I always
It,
wanted
it,
something else. I always wanted to go back and say, I wish my street could see me now. And that was
have
what
you
I
have you
always wanted to do.
have you been back and seen some of your
Yeah,
school?
my
You
mum
have.
still lives in the house. My mum still lives in the same house that we lived in all our lives.
Where
So
did you think you got that personality from? Like that desire to seek her fortunes, abroad and far and wide.
I I I really don't know. I've always been a character,
Hmm.
even
Are,
from
are
my
you the
school days.
youngest?
I was the eldest,
You're the
but
eldest.
I was always the entertainer. Anything it was, I was. My dad was an entertainer, so I was always the entertainer, and I just had those dreams. I just had those inspirations. I joined the forces. I've done so many different things within the forces, and I was just that type of person that would say,
Hmm.
"Give me a cabbie, let me have a go. Can I have a go?"
Hmm.
And I've done some incredible things, absolutely incredible things, where things have changed my life. But I think the most important thing is that a story. At 18, I went to Cyprus,
Okay.
and we were put in the middle of Limassol, and I was a young, confident individual, and they were just nice. They weren't
Hmm.
like our culture. They
Hmm.
were just really nice. They wanted
Hmm.
you to be part of their family. But I thought they just wanted to sell me something. So I was
Hmm.
really skeptical. So
Hmm.
I would always be looking at them going, really? Really? What do you
Hmm.
want from me?
Hmm.
And they were saying, no, 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 we don't want anything. And I think that's what probably that 2 years in Cyprus
Hmm.
was possibly a big, massive changing point, because it was just a wonderful place to be.
Hmm.
And I suppose wherever I've been, it's always put me in good stead, because if I've been to Hong Kong, or
Hmm.
I've been to Brunei or Sri Lanka, I could go for, or Jordan,
Oh wow.
Sicily.
Yeah.
If I anywhere I go, Qatar,
Hmm.
the Middle East,
Hmm.
language has never been a problem for me.
Hmm.
And no matter whether you speak it or you don't speak it, and I'm one of those typical English people that only learn one language, and I know everybody shouting, yeah, typical, but it's been one of those it's never held me back.
Hmm. Hmm.
What you can do with a handshake and a hug is
Hmm.
unbelievable.
Hmm. I I admire that spirit. I think there's a certain because I'm here in Hong Kong, right? And if you take a look at so my kids go to British school. Um, in fact, actually, my daughter's teacher is an old is she's British, she's English, but she's grew up in Hong Kong, raised here, family's here now. I think there's and actually in rugby as well, we've got a few Brits that have been here for at least two generations. I think there's something to be said about that British spirit. Some of them are Scots, some of them are Welsh, I'm sure. But it's yeah, that willingness to kind of get in there, get in the community. Obviously, there's some that don't, but yeah, they stay in the community, love the community, willing to muck in, good times and bad. They'll just stay and be loyal. I think there's something to be said about it. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. Like, so Miss Driscoll is the teacher. Maybe I shouldn't have said her name, but yeah, she's been teaching in Hong Kong for 20 years. Born and raised in Hong Kong, so her parents are probably forces or police. And but she's continuing to be here and to make a community and add to the life that we have and the community that we have in Hong Kong, and I think we're very blessed for that.
I think the British are. Look, I'm really proud of where I come from. I'm not proud of all the things that sometimes we've got involved in, and
100%.
I hate listening to history.
Mm,
I think with the empire and how we were spread across the world, and
mm,
but I do. I maybe I'm just that naive. I like listening to the good stuff, the things
mm,
that they possibly have had an influence on. I bring up one thing, which is the British Council.
mm.
They've been going now for 90 years. It's their 90th year anniversary this year.
Oh wow.
And
Yes,
and
I saw there was a trailer for a piece. Yes, correct.
yeah, and they've done some incredible things. I love what we've done on those fronts. I love how
Mm,
they bring people together, different cultures, fashion, language, just stuff that helps bring people together. That we can have an appreciation for that other culture, that other way that things are being done from all around the world. So I'm really proud of where I come from. I'm really proud of what they've done over the years in certain ways to bring certain things to different places. I could hear people saying, yeah, what about all the other stuff? But I understand all that, and there's nothing I can do about it. But you can be what it's done for me is it's made me the person who I am. And then what you can hopefully do is make a difference in your own way. My
I
home
yeah.
country is the UK, but what I do is that's how it's going to dictate me, not my history.
Right. I've, Hong Kong being a British colony, used to be a British colony, right? So I'm a keen Hong Kong historian. I've really tried to look and be objective about it all, right? And I've lived in Singapore, so I know how that works and everything. I've really tried to be objective, and yes, there's a lot of terribles. But there's something because I compare it to the Americans, and I don't see as many Americans staying, right? So in Hong Kong, there's less Americans than there've ever been. They were here to do business, whatever, but they don't really put down roots the same way Brits do. Yeah, I mean, I don't see that many as pillars of the community versus Brits are still a fundamental part of the community here, and there's just something. I think it's also good to kind of separate out, right? The government has its own kind of desires, incentives, and wants and needs, and whatever, and then the individual people. And oftentimes, I think it's better to even kind of say the state had kind of its own issues and what it wants to do, but then on the individual level, I would put it to anybody compared to anybody, any country or nationality or race. The British, on average, character on average, I think there's something different and something good. Yeah, that's that. In fact, I would say that I would. On average, I think the British person is a good person. Yeah.
I know some British people, and I know that it doesn't matter where it is around the world. You've got nice people and you've got tough
100%.
people, and it's kind of yeah. I must admit, and we did a podcast going back, or we did one of these going back, and we talked about how to set up a business here. I've got to say, I don't think you could ever come. I don't think you'll ever find a place like this in the world. I could be wrong, but it's a place that I haven't been yet, and I've been to a few places where you've got virtually everything here in Qatar. The quality of life is just unbelievable, and it's got to be down. I say this all the time. It's got to be down to their religion because they do pray every single. They pray 5 times, so they're closer to God. On a constant basis, so that has a way that the culture is here. There's got to be an impact in that respect.
So,
But
so do you find right on the individual level, like people are just a little bit more kind of pious, a little bit more, yeah, respectful.
I think that you can quite easily think that they're quite arrogant when you first come here.
Okay.
But this is sometimes that you have that with people that are quiet. People's interpretations of that individual because they're quiet, shyful, bashful, not confident. Then you're going to make your own assumptions of those individuals, right? And that's what I made here, and I've learned it firsthand when I was back in the UK or wherever I've been, and that was you've got to be the one that initiates that. I don't have a problem with that. I'm going to shake hands with anybody that I meet. So what I did was I at the beginning I thought that maybe it's not the place I
Maybe it's
thought it
just
was going
you,
to.
Steve. Maybe it's just you.
And it was just me. That's exactly right.
Is that right? Oh,
No,
really?
it was just
Okay.
me because the
Oh, really?
thing with it is I forgot to put that hand out. I forgot to kind of interact because there wasn't anything wrong with them. It was just that they were just shy. They just didn't want to make that first introduction.
So
And
they weren't quite sure how to handle you.
uh, that was exactly right. Look, some people look when and they're such a lovely. It's such a lovely culture, and it really is. You've got so many different nationalities here, But I remember in the early days when you would speak with Qataris and they didn't know English very well,
I
they would
see.
put their hand in front of their mouth because they didn't want. I don't see, but they would put their hand because they didn't want to make any mistakes.
I see. I see. I see. I see.
So there would be that little bit of
I
embarrassment, but it
see.
went the other way because I remember when I was learning Arabic and people would go, huh? Huh? What did you say? And
Pardon?
and
How do
you
you
would
say
say,
pardon? How do you say pardon
I'm
in
just not
Arabic?
doing this. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore.
I can only do assalamu alaikum. That's pretty much.
Wa alaikum salam.
Yeah,
I don't
there
know
you
what
go.
I'm.
Yeah, flip it around
Habibi.
and you've got two
Habibi is
phrases.
one of my favorite words. It's
Habibi.
my love. Habibi. So this is one
Anybody
of
can be
my.
a habibi.
Oh, I love that word. I love the word shui shui. I like that
What's
one.
that? What's that?
Slowly,
What's
slowly,
that?
slowly,
Slowly,
slowly.
slowly. Shui
Yeah.
shui. Shui shui.
So that was in Cyprus. It was siga 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 siga, my friend.
Okay. Okay.
Slowly, slowly.
Is it? Are
So
they telling you to drive slowly, or is it like take
no,
life slowly?
draw. Take it. Just shui shui shui
Shui
shui.
shui. Shui shui. Okay.
Slowly, slowly.
Shui shui.
Just enjoy life. Just kind of just relax. Don't be. So yeah. So those are the types of things. They're very much. They're always going to ask you about your family, how they're
Oh,
getting
that's lovely.
on.
Oh, that's lovely.
It's just that cultural thing that you can share. It really is. It's quite good. It's
I
really
do
good.
like that phrase, inshallah.
Inshallah, yeah, of
Yes,
course.
I
It's
quite like
God's
that one.
will, right?
Yes, yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes I think we can, and I've been so. God's will. I'm to God's will. Whatever He wants of me. Like, have I planned all this? Not really. Do I go with the flow? Do I constantly ask Him? I don't want to ask Him for anything, but I will say, hey, please, just one thing, please. Just tell me I'm heading. Just give me one of those signs that
Right,
I'm
okay.
heading in the right direction. That's
I
all I
see.
ask for you. I'll do your work.
You're right.
Just point me in the right
You don't have to
direction
tell me
sometimes.
everything.
Just
Just.
and sometimes I can hear him saying, going to me,
Hello, Steve.
hello, are you not seeing this in front of you? And you go, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But yeah,
I like that word, inshallah, because it can be used in like in the direct, right? Like inshallah, it is God's will. Sometimes it's like I don't know, nobody knows, inshallah, right? It's kind of like who knows, right? It's God's
it it
will.
it can be used. It can be used in a way that if they say, I'll see you tomorrow, inshallah.
Okay, in what in the sense that like if something falls, something might befall all of us, and then we might just
I'm just
not be
reminding
around.
you, something could come up and I might not be there.
Okay, why would they do that? Like what?
So if I said to you, we're going to meet tomorrow, inshallah. Okay, sometimes people will use that is I may have to cancel last minute because something may have. If it's
Oh,
family,
okay,
if
okay.
it's family stuff, you're out. There's and that's a great thing, right?
I see.
Is if
Got it.
if
Okay.
if it's a family, if there's something with the family, you're
Yes, of
you're
course.
you're not the priority, which is
Got it.
which is fantastic, by the way.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, but yeah, sometimes it can be used in that respect.
I
So
see. So see you tomorrow, inshallah. Got it. It's not like the plane might follow the sky type of thing. It's
you're
more
just there with
other
the
things might.
doubt that you're going to get a phone call or a text message to say, "Look, something's come up. I can't make it today."
Have you noticed that happen when someone does say inshallah? Like, oh, 90% of the time, you might get a phone call and say, let's do it some other time.
I feel that I've got to say the problem is with me because um,
Okay.
because I think we can all be a little bit skeptical sometimes.
Okay.
And sometimes whether it's you're emotionally charged or there's something you're thinking, oh my God, no, okay, that's not going to happen. But that's you. That's the way that your mind's working. As
Okay.
I used to have this wonderful sheikh I used to work for, and when I had a problem, he would say, Stephen, this is not my problem. This is in your head, not my head. This is your problem. I'm not thinking like this. You're thinking like this. I'm not thinking. So there's things that you can learn from some of these things. But yeah, I think you become a calmer person. You know that sometimes that this place is, I suppose, in wherever you are in the world, you're always going to have problems. You're always going to have those little demons that possibly run around that little brain of yours, and so there's always, no matter what you're dealing with, whatever level you're dealing at, it's all, so put it into perspective, right? Everybody's your problems I could want to jump off a cliff with, but let me put that again. My problems I could be wanting to jump off a cliff with. If you had the same problems that I had, it would be nothing for you. It would be easy for you to deal with. And I think sometimes that's something that we don't consider. Everybody's got problems. It's just
Yeah.
that there's no problems bigger than the other person's, because they're all relative to that individual, I
The,
think.
I 100% agree, and actually, there's I've never really spent that much time in the Middle East, but I've actually two books um, by the ruler of the UAE. I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna say that right. The ruler of the UAE, Sheikh
Maktoum?
Mohammed Maktoum, Sheikh Maktoum, yeah, Mohammed Maktoum. And so I've read his two books, and I definitely want to spend some time in the Middle East at some point because I'm just fascinated by ancient cultures, right? That's kind of why I really like going to Armenia. Just think there's something there. There's a certain wisdom that the people have, whether it's the sayings, whether it's the language, whether it's the music, whether it's just whatever is in the air, whether it's the food. I think there's a wisdom there that I love to pick up and learn. And just be exposed to, because I just think there's a certain wisdom there that in our chase to startups and modernity and whatever's next, as the world gets faster, as the world gets more complex, I think it's those practices, it's those ancient wisdom, it's that ancient wisdom, I think that I don't know, that's fascinating to me. That's why I do martial arts. Like, all the martial arts that I do are old stuff. It's really old, and there's a certain wisdom to that, of the ancientness, if you will.
I think you're right, and I think, like you say about Sheikh Maktoum, what he's done with Dubai is
Mm,
just unbelievable,
mhm.
and it doesn't seem to be stopping. I remember back when the credit crunch came, and they
Okay.
had problems because they didn't have the luxury of the oil and gas like their possible neighbors, but they
They,
really did seem how to grow, and how
they,
to,
yeah.
their legacy will last for they will be thought about, and they will be mentioned at every stage because of what they've created there.
They, they,
Same in
he,
Qatar.
yeah, they were bailed out. They were bailed out by Abu Dhabi, right? Is that the credit crunch?
Abu Dhabi, there was a few of them that helped them out. I think there was,
Okay. Okay.
look, there was a lot of help from loads of different. That's what they do.
Oh,
They're
they help each other.
brothers, they're sisters. They're kind of, and this is the way that they help one another. But yeah,
Mm.
it was. There was people that came in and got them through that difficult time. But um, yeah, look at what they've created there. It's quite
It's
phenomenal, really.
Yeah, it's very phenomenal. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's look. It's not everybody's cup of tea, right? For Dubai. I mean, it's Las Vegas on steroids, right? It's like literally from nothing, and then you've got. But it's definitely more tasteful than Las Vegas, right? You've got Nobu and you've got Armani Hotel. I mean, it's big and it's impressive and it looks nice, right? It's like people have put some thought into it. Um, yeah, and so the two books that I bought were about his vision, right? And because I was really kind of trying to tap into his mind. I was like, how does somebody? This is kind of what I like about Dubai. Like, how does somebody have the vision to want to build this? So that's one. You can have the vision. Lots of people can have vision. Then the execution, right? So he goes out and executes it. But then there's a certain style. It's not Las Vegas. It's not Singapore. It feels, to me, right? It feels still Middle East. It still feels very Gulf, but yet, still has those things, right? So, when you go to the Emirates, they say, you go to the desert, you can do like, you can do the falconing thing. You can go live in the tents. The Sheikh Maktoum is big in horse racing, right? In horses because that's a vital part, and the eagling thing, the falconing, I think, because that's a kind of a good part of their culture. And that's the thing. I think they preserve their values, they preserve their culture, and they go along and modernize and everything and the rest of it. So I think it's a wonderful blend. They haven't lost sight of their roots, which is where sometimes I think Hong Kong falters.
Yeah, I think that again, and I think a lot of it's got to do with religion. And I know that if people were listening to this, that it's the backbone. It's the backbone. I'm hearing the call to prayer at the moment, where everybody's going to go in and share those moments together, all praying for good things and help in certain ways. And I think that the way that these countries have progressed is by knowledge sharing. It's like they've not had the experience, but what they've done is they've found that experience along the way, and they've learned by it. They've shared. They've encouraged.
So that's actually so on the religion front. So it's 5 times a day, and how long is each? I can hear the listeners can hear on the background.
This
How
will
long
be
are these sessions? Yeah.
this. It depends, but this one will probably be an hour today. That
Okay.
because it's a Friday prayer and it's the religious day. It's like a Sunday. It's like a Sunday if we were back in the UK,
Oh, is
where
that
we,
right?
yeah.
Friday is a Sunday.
So Friday's a Sunday, Saturday's
Okay.
another day off, is the weekend. But this is a day that you'll not see, that there won't be virtually any cars on the roads today.
Got it. Okay. Got it.
So they'll all be on with families. This is a family day. So
Okay.
people will, in our days, all shops were closed.
I see. I
It
see.
was back then on a Sunday, but it's
Got it.
changed a little, and it's changed in these countries. But at this time, it will be the family the prayer, and it normally rotates depending on the time of year, an hour or so. But you'll probably be here for an hour, where everybody will be listening to the imam. So
Okay.
he'll be doing his sermon. That's what he's doing at the moment, the sermon.
And usually how like sermons are about kind of good
Half an hour to an
things,
hour.
how to live life, that type
Yeah,
of thing. Yeah.
yeah. How to just what Muhammad said, or what the Quran said. So these are all the things that and you can't help but be a good person if you're praying to God every 5 times a day.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
can
these are
imagine.
all the
Yeah.
good things, and there are some rules in that. I say rules. There's things that they all live by, which is also very good. Ramadan is a great time of year. Eid's a great time of year, where everybody's giving at the end of it. So that's like a Christmas day where everybody's giving gifts. So there are some wonderful things, but it's like everything else. I think they've got the time to try to learn the best bits. And I think that's what they try to do, is they try to go and find people that are really making a difference, and they try to get them here to be able to recreate it. Like you look at the education, you've got Wells Cornell, you've got Carnegie Mellon, you've got Texas A&M. They're going to be leaving soon, but then you've got Georgetown. So you've got all these universities that are just impacting our next generations. Like they're being given the best education possible, and it's all
So
here in Qatar.
there's the religious aspect which keeps I think everybody thinking about good thoughts and positive thoughts, and it feels like there's also this humility, right? That
Yeah,
I
of
guess
course.
it produces to be humble. I guess not only to one's relationship with God, but like to I guess to knowledge, to other people, to yeah, it's just the one's relationship to other people.
Yeah, and that's what you see on look. There's very little crime here in Qatar.
Right.
Very, very, very little. But it's everybody leads their lives. And if you went to shake anybody's hands in the street, they would shake your hand. They would be really pleased to kind of get to know you. So these are the things that sometimes I would miss for sure. Absolutely would I miss it. I don't think I'd change myself, but I think other people would find me strange if I went back to the UK wanting to say hello to everybody.
Well, I think
But
you probably in London or Bristol, yeah, it would be quite strange. But I think if you go to like some small town, I think it'd be all right. That's what I like
well,
about small English towns. They're
I,
still okay.
yeah, of course. But if you get
Yeah.
on the tube in London,
Yeah. No way.
nobody's even going to get eye contact with you.
No way. No,
Let me
that's
just
why
get.
I lived in a small little kind of village near Victoria Park, and it was yeah, you had that's what I loved. There was the
A
grocer.
little
There was
village. Where was
yeah,
this?
well, it was a high street. I mean,
Ah,
it was a high street, but it was quite villagey in its feel because it was quite isolated from everything else. And
okay.
you had the butcher, you would say hello. You had the fishmonger, you say hello. He knows what you like, and you had the grocer. What else? There was like two coffee shops, so you kind of pick which ones. There was the neighborhood pub, right? So every stop over for a Sunday brunch or something. So it was that's what I miss about the UK. That community feel. I think I'm recreating it now here in Hong Kong, my little bit. But that is something that I miss a lot in the
Do you,
UK.
do you, do you know what I don't miss? And you mentioned a coffee shop. I don't miss having to pay $5 for a cup of coffee.
How much do you pay for a cup of coffee in Qatar?
Well, if you go anywhere, you're going to be paying anywhere from 18 reals
That's like
to as much
£2,
as
£3.
25,
Oh, right.
which
Yeah,
is
Starbucks are. I can imagine.
so you're going to be looking at between, I don't know, but $4 to $5 sometimes. It's like, it's just I remember just the filter coffee
Right.
where it was just 50p. Do you want a coffee? Yeah,
The
50p.
UK, the rise in costs, 100%. It's I think it's not even £5 anymore. I think it's like 6, 7 pounds.
Wow.
In the US, it's even worse. So in the US, it's at least even for lunch, it's like $15. Not to mention in the US, in the US you have to tip, and it's not mandatory, but it might as well be mandatory. And there was a big hullabaloo in the UK because one pub started charging mandatory service fees, and then I just saw this commentary of like, you just poured me a pint, like I'm not gonna give you a 20% tip. Yeah, it's starting to creep up in the UK as well. I don't think it's a healthy thing. I don't think so. I mean, if I move
Tips
back
are
to the UK, we would live in like some rural place. We'll live in Malvern Hills, sorry, Worcestershire. We probably wouldn't ever go back to London.
Malvern. Now you're talking about Malvern, which is by
Exactly.
Chepstow, not Chepstow, by uh, Cheltenham.
Yeah, I think so. In fact, I don't.
Malvern was, yeah, Worcestershire. Worcestershire, Herefordshire. That's where I used to be.
Really? Cheltenham.
I love that area, and the countryside is just to die for.
So
Beautiful.
I've never heard. I've heard great things, right? Because of the hills and yeah, it's just the hills are nice.
Cotswolds, it's pretty good. Somerset is really good. Yeah, you've got some wonderful
Yeah.
places to live, but I don't know. I must admit, I do love Qatar.
I need to come visit you. No, you've been always saying good things, and like I said, I've want to go to the Middle East at some point. There's just something there. There's something there. I mean,
It,
the Arabic culture has been what thousands of years, right?
yeah, look, it's a great place. It's if I go out at the moment, I think we're going to be looking. They say we're going to get hit 45 degrees tomorrow.
Jesus.
And the
Okay.
humidity is I nearly fell over yesterday. I came out of somewhere and the humidity was so high it just fogged my glasses up completely and I nearly tripped over a speed bump because I couldn't see where I was going. So
Yeah,
there
it
the
sounds like
weather's not
Uncle.
always great, and it's so nice when we went to Armenia. that we went to Armenia, and
Sure.
that was a great time because you had the fresh air and the goat, the lambs when we went to breakfast.
Oh, they were great. That's
So,
that's what I really. So you know, it is the oldest Christian country, right? So it's something that's something that draws me every single time I go. I don't know if I told you, I go to Armenian church as well when I'm there. Did I tell you that? Yeah.
no,
So Lord Byron, the English poet, said that if you want to speak to God, speak Armenian. And so I was like, okay, what does that mean? And so I, I messed around with the language. I did a couple clips, social media clips on speaking Armenian, and I could fumble my way around it. But then I was like, I don't think that's what Lord Byron means. I think he actually means kind of church Armenian, ancient Armenian. And so I went to the church and I recorded some of their stuff. And they were saying that church Armenian is actually 70% of the church Armenian is not spoken by regular Armenians. It's kind of like it's Latin. The church is Latin, and then nobody else does, right? And so in some ways, ancient Armenian or church Armenian is kind of a dead language. And yeah, there's a certain tone. There's a sing song thing that makes it, I think, more interesting. I don't know if it's gotten me closer to God, but it's something that I find quite fascinating. That's kind of why I go back. There's just something about the people. I think the simplicity.
I'll do that with you next time.
Yeah,
I'll stay
come
an extra
around,
couple of days.
come
Yeah,
around.
I'd love to do that.
You're Anglican, or
I'm Catholic.
you're Catholic?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
But I don't know. I don't. There could be only one God. And I don't know who that is.
Right, right. I'm kind of in the same kind of boat with you. There's
Yeah,
somebody or a bunch of people. I don't know. Like I don't think I don't think we will ever know or really fully understand. Is it a bloke? Is it not a bloke? Is it what is it? I
yeah,
think our brains are tiny compared to whatever that power is.
yeah. I'm not quite sure.
Do you think it's a
I'm.
bloke?
Um. Yeah, probably.
Are you recalling the voice that spoke to you? Whether it's like a
Yeah, and he's probably getting led by his wife.
right.
I think that's the best way everything is done.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's very sound behavior, very smart.
Yeah, I'd like to think. But what's your day going to be for the rest of the day?
I think this is it. I'm just gonna wind up some stuff and then call it a weekend. I'm meeting up with a mate tomorrow. We're gonna do some AI and education course to learn about that, and then yeah, and we play some rugby on Sunday with
I
the
want to
kids.
do some more of this because I've got some stuff that I want to ask you. I'm going to be working with a university here in Qatar, and they're talking about how to set up an innovation and entrepreneurship. And
Let's I need to ask you about like your interview methods, like how many people you've interviewed and like what are the best practices. So yeah, let's just
yeah,
continue this and then add it to the agenda.
I'm going to help somebody. I'm going to see two people today that's going to help me get some AI bots in
Okay.
in place with a new website that covers all
Okay.
my services. So I'm quite excited about that. I'm intrigued to find out. I'm always intrigued to find out more when it comes to AI.
There's a
But it's
lot to learn. Here's a plug for obviously the automated. So we run a newsletter. We've been running it for 2 years now, and we write a daily newsletter on like AI comes and goings, news, tools, and everything. And it's just on a daily basis. There's just so much to write about. There's a lot, and it's rather exciting. It really is. Actually,
I'll
let's put
talk.
that on the agenda for our next week talk. We can talk
Yeah,
about actually
because
what
I
you
want to talk
you
about
went
that
over.
device because that device there helps me so much. It's untrue.
What is it?
Claude, but it helps me to press the button and it records my whole conversation meeting, and then
Oh
it
yeah, I've seen the social media for it. Does it? So how
um
does it work? Go here. How does it work?
so I've got the device,
Okay,
the device
smaller than I
there,
thought. Yeah. Okay. All right.
smaller. You press the button, you squeeze it, it
Right.
records, and then you forget about it, and then you have your meeting. It could be anybody in that meeting. So
Right.
during that meeting, it will pick up on the names, so
Right.
that it associates the names with the voices.
Right.
And then you can ask it several things. So you can get it will give you a conclusion of the meeting and what the points that you discussed. And then you can take because it'll give you the transcript, it'll give you the recording, it'll give you the mind flow or
Wow.
mind mapping, and then it will just put it all together, where you can do whatever you want to it. I normally take it into ChatGPT again and say, okay, I'd like this style, or I'd like that style.
Right.
Um, bring out these, and it's fabulous. It just takes me to a whole different level.
Of
I know what
productivity. Yeah.
happened in the
How much is
meeting.
it?
$170, I think.
Okay. How do you spell it again? Plaud.
PLAUD.
Aud. Okay.
It's incredible. And it just keeps you track of these meetings when you could be in the flow, and it keeps everything in. You can go out that meeting and in 10 minutes, you could be sending them the minutes of that meeting.
Why does it look bigger than it is? It's
It,
tiny.
it's
It's literally on that. What do you have it on a strap or?
because it's on the strap. I can break it down off the
I
strap,
see.
and I can have that little
I
device.
see.
And that
Okay.
I've got the opportunity to put it, like,
Oh
for
no,
example,
there's one that's flat that you can put it on
there's
top of
one
your
that's
phone.
flat.
I see.
So, which I'm fuming because I was going to put this on for. So as you can see, it's on my top now. It's a magnet.
Right.
So I can just kind of, or I can have it on a. There's sometimes I can have it on a little thread
Okay.
around my neck,
Right.
and it'll pick up everything. Yeah,
Oh
it's a
wow.
really great device. So useful, but I forgot to put it on today. That's the only problem that you've got, is that sometimes you forget to use it.
Right. And then it's just that one-time fee. You don't have to pay anything else every
I
month.
pay. There's a device that turns it all. A software that I utilize,
Okay.
and that's relatively cheap. I wouldn't know, but it's relatively cheap on a yearly basis.
Okay. No, that's good to know. So how long have you had it? Oh, here we go. Aon membership.
I've had it now for. I've had it for about just less than a year, but
Okay.
it helps me to have a personal assistant and
Would
a
you
smart one
recommend
too.
the note pin or the note?
I've got the note pin.
Okay.
I've got the note pin, and I would recommend it to anybody, any startup that was just put it on.
Okay.
What does it?
Wow.
Whether you use it or you don't use it, it's always great to be able to, and to be able to then go into ChatGPT. You were in the meeting, so you
Right.
knew what was being said, and you may want it in a different style or a different
Sure.
flavor.
I see with the note, you can actually record the phone stuff. So when you're calling, well, I guess it doesn't. Yeah, it
I,
just.
I can, what I do is, if I've got the phone, I'll put it on
Yep.
speaker, and then I'll just put the device on, and it's
Okay.
perfect.
And then you just clip it on, and then you just press start, right? You just press a
Press
button.
start. You just squeeze
Yeah.
it, and you're away. I wish I would have done it for our podcast today.
Okay. No, we can try it. I've always seen these advertisements. I just never thought about it.
Incredible.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll send you a couple of the some of the things that it gives you. I'll give you some of my latest ones that I've done.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah.
And definitely we can put it on next week and then try it out as well.
It's a huge one, but I do want to talk to you about stuff that where I'm going to be working with a university. I may be helping them with they're thinking about getting a BA or a master's in
Okay.
in entrepreneurship.
Okay. Love to
Um,
help. Like,
I
it's a new starting university or?
It's a new start. Yeah, it's a new
Wow.
university, and they're thinking about doing this. I'm not really an academic, so basically they've got the faculty in place now. So
Got it.
they've got professors that are doing not just PMP, or where project managing
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
for big jobs and construction. They're doing that for any type of business. So
Right.
project
Right.
managing. So
Okay.
I think that's one area that they all fall down on. And finance, they've got people in finance and investment.
Right.
So utilizing the faculty that they've got there, I think it's going to be a huge one. But let's see.
Cool. Let's. When you meeting with them today, or
I've had a meeting with them yesterday, and I've got a meeting with them next week. I've just got to put something together, something really short.
right?
I'm going to help with memberships, or people joining them. So I've got several things I'm doing, and with the videos in the podcast, they've let me use their facilities. They've got some great cameras too. So
Nice.
so I can see that the relationship could work quite well.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know how it can help, and then we can definitely
I'm
talk
definitely
together
going to
as
do
well.
that. 100% sure.
Lean on me,
Nice one.
sir. All right, sir.
Good
We'll
on you.
talk. Ciao,
Thank you so
ciao.
much, Pac. Yeah, good on you. Thank you so much indeed.